Expo SDK 53 rolls in React Native 0.79. Also comes with this shiny new Expo UI. Yes. So basically that's SwiftUI and Jetpack Compose inside plain.js. The React Native community is like it's moving really fast, and actually they are current kind of blurring the line between native and JS in this case. Basically, SDK 53 ships React Native 0.79. This also comes in with the new architecture by default. Basically, you don't have to opt in now. Also, the focus with this new release is also about bridging the gap between platform native UI primitives. So, as I mentioned, Expo UI, I think for me, there were a lot of good things which were mentioned and improvements with this release. You can definitely go check out the release notes. I'll link them also in the show notes. But then now let's just talk about Expo UI because I was super excited with it, because ever since I started doing React Native development, I've always found it funny that we have to always recreate the native UI in JavaScript rather than opting in to the actual UI, which is coming with the actual platform itself. So it was always funny to me, but basically now it's out there. So Expo is starting to release some of the UI components. You can check them out in their website. Also link as well. A link you can just quickly go there. Basically, it's like I said, it's bridging to platform native UI. You can have a button from Swift or Compose, and it will render identically on both ends based on the platform you are in. And to use it, you just have to install Expo UI, which is simple like that. But there are other goodies as well in that other release. I'll just mention like other one as well, which is like Expo Audio, which is now stable. It's funny enough, like I'm currently working on a podcast app, jupiterpod.com. I'll put a link as well in the description for that. I started with Expo Audio, and the other time it wasn't good at all. Like basically, there were a couple of things which I was unhappy with, and also, yeah, also like I could see that it was not stable. I'll probably try it out again now and see how it goes. Currently using, I believe it's React Native Player or something like along those lines. But it's quite good for what I was trying to do, because basically podcast app. Yeah. So one thing that I can also mention about this new release is that since the new architecture is already opted in by default, that means then you might have some issues when it comes to actually running your app, because some libraries are not yet using the new architecture, and if you have libraries which are not playing well with that, you might have to opt out. And also it's using React Native 19 as well, not React Native but React 19, which comes with its own advantages and also disadvantages if you have some business logic which is dependent on how a React 18 is working. So you might have some issues there. But I mean, like with everything, you can mix it out for now. Even with Expo UI, we don't have all the components already to have like a full app which has all the native bits. And everything is being, it trickles in slowly, and I'm sure the extra team are working hard to provide more. And even the way you install Expo UI currently, it's a bit complicated in the sense that you can just like import from Expo UI, just be Expo UI slash maybe Swift UI or Compose, but that might in the future change. All of this is still, I'd say, experimental, even though like it's more stable than before. I won't lie to you, I think the way things are going is actually going in the right direction. And React Native as well is moving. Like I saw some stats before which talks about how React Native now it's fast. It's almost as fast as native and faster than native in some instances. I just found that crazy because initially the whole argument was that React Native will never. React Native is so slow. Why don't you just go and like just use the native bits? But like we can see that things are changing so fast. So yeah, and also that old conversation that we had about ejecting and then with Expo, you can see that it's slowly fading away. So you don't need to eject or do any of that. So yeah, so I mean the people who were like talking about that. Oh, one thing I also wanted to talk about is to edge when it comes to our Android. Like that's also rolling out with this SDK, and you know that it's actually one of the recommended ways of creating Android apps. I released an app the other day, and it was had the warning that it must be edge to edge or like something like that. Like yeah, now if you use a React Native Expo 53, you get that by default. Or at least you have it's like minor things that you have to do. There are really some nice things in this release. Server components as well, something that is happening. Background tasks, it's quite nice. Yeah, but check it out and see how it goes for you. Like I mentioned, the change logs will be in the show notes. Until next time, have a great one. Cheers, y'all.